that wonderful presentation. It was really inspiring. And now welcome to the ceremony to celebrate the winners of the 2020 Hans Christian Andersen Award. I'd like to thank all of you who are joining this ceremony from around the world, and also to everybody here at the Pashkov house in Moscow. It's so nice to see real people at last. So, please join me in warmly thanking our generous sponsors, the Nami Island Arts and Education Inc., without whom we would not be able to continue to honour these outstanding creators of children's books. So, we shall start the evening with a welcome from the 2020 jury president, Jacqueline Woodson, live from Andersen.
Good evening. I felt so sorry that the IBBY World Congress in Russia was postponed due to the pandemic in September 2020. It's already been a year since then, and during that time, COVID-19 has continued to plague us, cutting off relationships between people. I'd like to congratulate you on successfully holding the IBBY World Congress on a small yet impressive scale, despite the difficulties caused by COVID-19. I would also like to express my heartfelt congratulations to Jacqueline Woodson and Andersen, both of whom were awarded the Hans Christian Andersen Award. On Nami Island, we have also experienced difficult times during the pandemic, but even during these difficult times, we are already preparing for a brighter post-pandemic future for Nami Island. Of course, our preparations include supporting IBBY in its efforts to support children all around the world. Before sitting down to write a congratulatory message, I always read a bridge of children's books by Jacqueline. This is a moving autobiography of a woman who gave strength and hope to children around the world. After they experienced the horrors of war, every time I read it, I think about what we should do to children in Nami Island. I ask myself how I can contribute even a little to making the world a happy place for children, so that they can have hopes and dreams. Several years ago in Budapest, Hungary, I saw Syrian refugees walking in lines with the children, holding their parents' hands or held in their parents' arms. And this is still a very vivid memory for me. Even now, seeing children crying in Afghanistan are breaking our hearts again. When will the day come when these children can dream of a new future, like a book offered by Jacqueline? I hope that the works of children's authors and illustrators around the world, including this year's recipients of the Hans Christian Andersen Award, will offer hope of a happier future to children. Again, I'd like to congratulate the two award recipients and express my infinite gratitude and support to IBBY, and especially to those who prepared this year's IBBY World Congress in Russia. Thank you.
As you can see, that was not Andersen in Illinois. That was the wonderful Mrs. Lee Kai-Yong, representing the Nami Island Arts and Education, filming from Nami Island, a tiny tear-shaped island in the Harlem River in South Korea. So thank you very much to Mrs. Lee. But now, hoping that we should be able to invite John Photo to give the laudation for Jacqueline Woodson, the 2020 winner for the quality of her writing. Now I hope you see Junko live from Evanston.
Hello, good evening, darling. As chair of the 2020 IBBY Russia Andersen jury, tonight I celebrate with you the winners of the highest international recognition given to an author and an illustrator of children's books. The Andersen Award is sponsored by Nami Island Inc., to whom we express deep appreciation for their ongoing and generous support. I also take this moment to bring the heartiest greetings and congratulations to the winners from the patron of the arts, Her Majesty Queen Margrethe of Denmark. On this day, we remember the 3,000 people who lost their lives 20 years ago at the World Trade Center in New York City. IBBY's mission of promoting international understanding through children's books is needed as never before. And still, our world is in crisis, from the pandemic, natural disasters, continuing wars. In these times, we are especially grateful to be part of an organization that puts the needs of children first, insisting on the quality books that they so deserve. This 37th IBBY World Congress has been postponed, altered, and reimagined to be as inclusive as possible during the current pandemic with its subsequent travel restrictions. I would like to applaud the perseverance and courage of our colleagues at IBBY Russia as they bring us this innovative congress from Moscow. Thank you, Maria, Angela, Dennis, Tatiana, and all of your colleagues who have Mariela Bertelli from Canada, Janice Pesneso from Russia, Tina Bilban from Slovenia, Yasko Doi from Japan, Nadia El Kholi from Egypt, Viviane Bezali from France, Eva Gaznami from Greece, Robin Morrow from Australia, Cecilia Anagarbetti from Argentina, and Ulla Redden from Sweden. Elder Nogueira from Brazil represented the IBBY president, and Liz Page served as the jury secretary. Serving on the Andersen jury is an honor, one that holds tremendous responsibility and is also filled with pure joy. Immersing ourselves in the best of the world's literature for children, for countless hours we felt the enormity of the decision. The jury accepted the trust placed in us for making this very difficult decision among such highly qualified candidates. Digital dossiers and books were supplied to all jury members. For months, we had online exchanges of our thoughts and questions with blogging, and then we had the opportunity to hold the physical books in our hands and examine them as we assessed our earlier understandings and then came to appreciate what physical books offered. We value the inclusiveness that technology allowed. We met in person at the International Youth Library in Munich, Germany, a sister organization of IBBY. We are especially thankful to Director Christiana Rabe and former Assistant to the Director Petra Gorshing for their ongoing support and hosting of the jury proceedings. The criteria used to assess the nominations include the aesthetic and literary quality, as well as the freshness and innovation of each nominee's work, the ability to see the child's point of view and to stretch their curiosity, the continuing relevance of the work to children and young people. The award is based on the entire body of work by each illustrator and each author. IBBY National Section submitted 34 author nominees and 36 illustrator nominees. From this incredibly highly qualified candidate pool, the jury deliberated on each one, carefully and thoughtfully assessing each candidate while maintaining discussions related to the criteria. The short list of 6 authors and 6 illustrators was announced in January last year, and we produced a video in order to see and hear each candidate introduce their work. The 2020 winner of the author category is Jacqueline Woodson, submitted by IBBY, the United States National Section of IBBY. From her earliest years, Jacqueline found writing made her happiest. She says, "I still love watching words flower into sentences and sentences bloom into stories." With nearly 40 books, Woodson writes for a range of audiences, from picture books for young readers to novels for children, older children and teens, and books for adults. Named by the Library of Congress as a National Ambassador for Young People's Literature, Jacqueline's commitment to young readers in offering many ways to see themselves has been recognized. Woodson's realistic fiction portrays many kinds of life experiences. She writes to offer readers a way to experience life in the characters' lives and viewpoints, not to fix their problems or to offer solutions, but to get to a feeling that she herself wants to feel by the end of the story. The dossier for the author winner notes that across all books, Woodson features lyrical language, powerful characters, and an abiding sense of hope. The dialogues are pitch perfect, the stories are raw and fresh, and the endings satiate the reader. Congratulations, Jacqueline Woodson. Please accept our accolades bestowed on you and our deep appreciation of your work.
I am so grateful to be here, and I'm so grateful to IBBY, to the jury, to the people who are in the audience. And I actually have a PowerPoint, and then I'm going to do that, and then you'll see me at some point. But if we could start the PowerPoint, that would be fabulous. Thank you. The first time my teacher read The Little Match Girl to me by Hans Christian Andersen, I knew. I was about 8 or 9 years old, and it was the first time in my life I had experienced a book that didn't have a happy ending. And although the ending devastated me, I knew this was what I always wanted: honesty and truth and empathy in stories. It was a Friday afternoon, and this was routine in my 3rd grade classroom when we had been, quote unquote, good. We were gifted with the reading of a picture book by our teacher, Miss Moskowitz. I don't remember a Friday where we weren't good enough for the sin of the week ritual. And decades later, what I am supposing is that the reading was just as enjoyable for our teacher as it was for us. Next question. Our desks were in rows, nailed to the floor, and our chairs were attached to them. The only move that this allowed was flipping up and down of our seats as we slid out of them. The wood was a deep brown, the legs of the desk and chairs an ornate dark metal. I loved everything about that classroom and that school, an ancient building rumored to have once been a castle. The floors of the classroom were wide planks, and the stairs leading up to our third grade classroom were marble. Years later, the building that spanned 2 city blocks would be painted pink, and this too was beautiful to me. In the decades to follow, New York City would come to have the highest rate of segregated schools in the country. But as a child, my classrooms were still very integrated. Inside that school and inside that classroom, I didn't know that our neighborhood was considered underprivileged. I didn't know that our school was considered a failing one. And so as I lay my head down on my desk and listened to Ms. Moskowitz's voice move over the classroom, I didn't care about the description for them. I sank into the saga of the little match girl from my safe place inside a classroom filled with light, inside a school that felt like it had always been there, waiting to harbor a seasonal tea, and inside the words of a story being read to us on a Friday afternoon. I know I don't have to tell anyone listening that at the end of the book, the little match girl dies. She dies because of poverty. She dies because of neglect. She dies because then and now, we live in a world where too often the needs of our young people go unheard. By the time Ms. Moskowitz finished reading the book, I was weak and soulful. And though she tried to comfort me as she led us in 2 lines out of the building, she couldn't. By the time I walked out of that building into the bright afternoon, what I knew more than anything was that I wanted to write, and I wanted a different world. After school every day, my siblings and I, like so many kids in our neighborhood, walked the 5 blocks to the neighborhood public library, the Washington Irving branch. There we obediently did our homework and then found books to read until our parents, who worked full-time, came to collect us at 6 o'clock in the evening. But that afternoon, instead of reading over my homework, I went straight to the the shelves and found the little match girl. I thought maybe this time there would be a happy ending. Maybe this book was different from the one our teacher had read us. Of course the ending was the same, and yet somehow Mr. Andersen wrote with such a deep honesty and hope that I read the book again and again. I wanted the world to be better, and until I understood the ways in which it was broken, I would remain powerless about changing. After all, I was just a kid from Brooklyn. Most days I thought I didn't know anything. But as I read books like Andersen, The Little Match Girl, Oscar Wilde, The Selfish Giant, and John Steptoe's Phoebe, and Elsie Greenfield, She Comes Bringing That Little Baby Girl, I knew. Years later, I realized there was no such thing as just being a kid from Brooklyn. That we were all, are so much more than the place we come from, the people we love, the forces we worship, the languages we speak. That those elements of our spirit make us human and amazing, and yet, I would come to realize that even as we grow older, we are always still beginning. From this new beginning, after a pandemic has turned our lives upside down, after the birth of babies and the loss of loved ones, and everything that happens in between birth and death, I am sitting here so grateful to the committee that chose me this year. But is it really this year, truly, what year is it? This year's winner of the Hans Christian Andersen Award. It is truly a dream come true that in my hands soon I will hold a medal from the person who launched this journey by writing honestly so that I could one day not be afraid to write honestly. Next, please. For my first novel in 1990 until today, I've tried to write truthfully about the world, and with that truth, speak to the hope that above all else must remain with us, the hope that we all share. Every evening at dinner, our family goes around the table and says, well, and I try always to write into this hope. My writing has taken me from Brooklyn to Berlin, almost to Moscow, from Pennsylvania to Palestine. And although as a young person, I stood in the bathroom mirror holding a hairbrush and a microphone and recited my Pulitzer Prize speech, I had no idea that one day the words that started in my brain would be out in the world and beloved, that awards would follow. Please. That one day I'd be writing this talk and accepting one of the world's greatest honors. A kid from Brooklyn in front of you now, grateful. I think of the people I've met on the journey, the friends I've made, the ride or die folks who I can call in the night just to hear a voice, just to hear someone say, you got it, Jackie, you can do this. I think of the way I've grown up and older with my writing buddies, how we nurtured each other's children and Zoomed and FaceTime our way through this pandemic, the words and the world that didn't exist as verbs this way when I was a kid. Or even when I was a grown-up for that matter. I think of my beloved and the kids we brought into the world and how I was pregnant with my oldest when the towers came down on this day of 9/11. I think of my friends all. Next please. How my son has had to bear witness to so many people who look like him getting killed by people who were hired to protect them. How they've seen their schools closed, their proms canceled, their smiles covered with masks. I think of how they moved through it, my children, and so many children in this world, learning again how to smile with their eyes, dance outside, play board games, and wear their masks like badges or gloves on a chilly day. How what seems so dire and heartbreaking to us as adults, simply stones our young people have learned to hurdle landing gently on the other side. How quickly they build up inside a community of writers and teachers and thinkers and doers, knowing the importance of community health, social justice, gratitude, and hope. And always inside this world of changing ways and changing times, I carry with me the ancestors, the writers and the thinkers that have moved on to the next place, but who, like
So, Jacqueline Woodson, the 2020 winner of the Illustrator category is Albertine, submitted by the Swiss section of IBBY. Beginning with a career teaching screen printing, Albertine went on to become a press illustrator. Following her marriage to writer Germano Zullo, they collaborated on many works, including the creation of books for children that have won awards such as the IBBY Golden Apple, the Bologna Ragazzi Award, and more. Animated films were followed by an original puppet show production, as Albertine simultaneously exhibited her drawings, screen prints, lithographic works, wood engravings, objects, and notebooks around the world. But her work for which we recognize her today with an Andersen Award is found in over 30 books she has created for children. The imaginary world she offers, a playful way for children to ask themselves more questions than to seek answers. Albertine is known for her signature style of using a stroke instinctively, as if it were an endless ball of yarn that continuously unwinds to create images. Building on that style, over the years, her work remains fresh. The dossier notes, known for her work that expresses spontaneity combined with attention to detail, infinite precision, as well as sense of humor, our winner creates books with multiple levels of interpretation as an illustrator, but also as an author. Whether she creates both text and illustration, or she illustrates the text of another, the poetic creation of a dialogue between text and illustration invites readers to engage with the books. Congratulations, Albertine. Please accept our accolades bestowed on you and our deep appreciation of your work.
Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for the best prize. I'm very, very happy et je suis très, très émue, très émue. J'espère pouvoir continuer à travailler encore et encore et garder ce prix au fond de moi et garder un sens critique.
J'ai un plus beau cheveu. Lorsque j'étais une petite fille d'environ 7 ans, j'ai eu un soudain irrépressible envie de réaliser un livre qui serait en taille bien plus grande que moi. Un livre géant, un livre cabane, un livre où chaque image serait aussi imposante et reluisante. Dans la bibliothèque de mon enfance, il y avait un livre que j'aimais particulièrement. Un livre qui contenait à mes yeux le mystère, la poésie et la force narrative du silence projeté par les images. Un jour, j'ai tenté de le retrouver, mais il avait disparu. J'ai appris plus tard que maman l'avait donné. Je ne connaissais pas le titre ni l'auteur, car la petite fille que j'étais n'emmagasinait que les illustrations. J'ai continué de chercher ce livre partout. Dans les brocantes, sur Internet, en vain. Plus tard, avec Jacqueline Woodson, nous avons l'idée de réaliser un livre sur ce livre. Un livre qui s'intitulerait Le livre perdu. Et puis, alors que nous réfléchissions au projet, le livre réapparut, comme par miracle. Il se tenait là sur un stand du salon de Montreuil. Je découvrais pour la première fois son titre et son auteur, Sur la colline de Gotha-Tanouchi. La pulsion créatrice m'habite depuis l'enfance. Je dois dessiner toutes les émotions et toutes les sensations qui transitent dans mon esprit. Je dois dessiner ce que je ne sais pas lire ni écrire. Je dois dessiner le monde que je veux comprendre. aussi et surtout dessiner l'essentiel. C'est difficile l'essentiel, qui a tendance à se dissimuler. Il faut le chercher avec patience et bienveillance. Il s'agit toujours d'explorer. Je passe beaucoup de temps à explorer. L'exploration est un parcours. Mon parcours est une ligne infinie, tracée sur une page blanche infinie. Germano est écrivain. Il écrit depuis qu'il est enfant. À l'époque, il était fasciné par le mystère de l'univers. Aujourd'hui, il se contente de contempler le mystère. Il arrive dans ma vie, on s'aime. Nos histoires se mélangent. De nouvelles histoires apparaissent. Nous rassemblons texte et l'image et nous faisons dialoguer l'image avec le texte. Thomas Guérin dit: les enfants n'ont pas besoin de livres comme enfants, mais d'histoires bien racontées. Germano et moi sommes des serviteurs. Nous nous mettons au service de l'idée. Une idée ne doit pas être destinée à certaines personnes en particulier. Une idée appartient à tout le monde. Une idée est toujours supérieure à une idéologie. Les idées épanouissent les esprits et profitent à la conscience. Les idéologies atrophient l'intelligence et instaurent le dogme. Aussi, nous préférons les questions-réponses. Les questions libèrent systématiquement, les réponses tendent à enfermer. L'humanité ne doit pas faire semblant d'avancer, elle doit avancer. Nos livres ont peut-être cette prétention-là, encourager le pas suivant. Je ne me considère pas illustratrice mais dessinatrice. Il m'arrive parfois de pratiquer l'illustration et de donner ainsi de l'image au texte. Mais aux côtés de Germano, je pratique surtout le dessin et deviens par là même une véritable auteure. Le texte donne à l'image et l'image donne au texte. Lorsque nous construisons une histoire, le dialogue est constant. Aucune pratique ne prend le dessus sur l'autre. Cela demande écoute et confiance. Et la patience aussi. Les idées ne sont pas faciles. Les plus simples d'apparence sont en réalité les plus difficiles. Il nous faut savoir les attendre, comprendre leur volonté, accepter leurs caprices. Nous devons pour cela sans cesse nous remettre en question. Il serait indécent de se reposer sur le laurier. Ce serait faire semblant d'avancer. Alors qu'il est, comme déjà dit, essentiel de réellement avancer. Chaque nouveau projet est ainsi un nouveau pas en avant, et chaque nouveau dessin, tout en étant la somme du précédent, suggère une nouvelle direction à prendre. Je remets mon chapeau. Maurice Saint-Bach. Le livre est le lieu où je dépose les fantaisies qui m'ont accompagné la vie entière. Le lieu où je leur donne une forme qui fait en sorte qu'elle signifie quelque chose. La fantaisie est le noyau, le cœur de toute écriture pour enfants, de toute littérature, probablement de tout acte de vie. L'écrivain rattache à son travail des éléments qui lui viennent de ce qui est le plus profond, le plus caché dans son livre. Les circonstances diverses affleurent un film particulier qui réside dans l'enfance, une veine qui demeure ouverte et vivante. C'est en cela que consiste le don particulier de l'artiste. Je dessine tous les jours, depuis toujours. Le dessin est peut-être ma véritable langue maternelle. Je fais des livres, mais je fais aussi des gouaches, des sérigraphies, des objets, des robes. Mon atelier est plutôt bien rangé, mais il est en réalité toujours en effervescence. Il évolue au même rythme que j'évolue et il me plaît de le voir et de le savoir ainsi constitué d'une infinité de strates, d'étapes, d'épisodes, de transitions. Je crois qu'il est profondément nécessaire de reconnaître ce qui a été pour comprendre une création en cours et la transmettre de manière apaisée. Auteurs et artistes peuvent exister sans cette transmission. Aucune œuvre ne peut exister sans l'appropriation du lecteur ou du public. C'est ce qu'on appelle aussi la reconnaissance. Mais ce n'est pas seulement la reconnaissance de l'artiste, c'est aussi la reconnaissance du lecteur et du public. J'étais dans mon jardin avec mes bottes, mon sécateur, et je reçois ce téléphone en langue anglaise. J'ai d'abord cru qu'on essayait de me vendre une encyclopédie. Et puis j'ai compris, j'avais gagné le prix Hans Christian Andersen. Évidemment, je ne m'y attendais pas. Comment pouvais-je figurer à côté de noms tels que Quentin Blake, Raphaël Proust, Tommy Miguel, Lisbeth Verrier?